All right, so today we are diving deep into the YiJing.
The YiJing.
You might know it as the YiJing, or even the Book of Changes.
Why, yes.
We've got a whole stack of articles and historical texts, even some personal notes, ready to unlock some ancient wisdom.
Absolutely. You know, it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
The staying power of the YiJing. We're talking Bronze Age China.
Wow.
And it still captivates people today.
For those who maybe haven't encountered the YiJing before, how would you describe the basic structure?
It's like a collection of 64 chapters.
64?
Yeah. Each one's called a hexagram.
Hexagrams.
But these hexagrams, they're not your typical chapter.
Right.
They're actually visual representations.
Wow.
Made up of 6 lines stacked on top of each other.
So like lines of text?
Not lines of text. Some are whole lines, some are broken.
Interesting.
It's almost like a code.
A code, yeah.
And there are texts that go with each hexagram, even for each line, offering guidance and insight.
So it's not just like a book you read straight through. It's more like a system.
Exactly, for exploring different situations, challenges.
So each hexagram, would you say it's like a snapshot?
Yes, like a snapshot of a particular moment or dynamic. In the constant flow of change.
Okay.
By understanding that symbolism in these snapshots, the YiJing can help us make sense of life's, well, you know, complexities.
So crack the code. How do these hexagrams actually work? What's the key?
Those whole and broken lines, they actually represent yin and yang energies.
Yin and yang. Okay.
And the key here is that those 6 lines are actually formed by combining 2 sets of 3 lines called trigrams.
Trigrams? That sounds like a sci-fi movie or something.
Maybe, but it's actually more like a cosmic Lego set.
Okay.
There are only 8 possible trigrams, and each one symbolizes a fundamental force in the universe.
Like what?
Think heaven, earth, thunder, water.
Powerful.
Powerful stuff. So 8 basic building blocks.
I'm starting to get the picture.
Right. The YiJing uses these 8 trigrams to reflect the interplay of forces.
Okay.
In any given situation, you combine them in different ways, bam, you get a hexagram
What?
that reflects the unique dynamics at play.
That's really clever. So it's like a recipe book, but instead of creating dishes, you're mapping out forces that shape our lives.
That's a great analogy.
Okay.
Just like a recipe has specific ingredients that lead to a certain outcome.
Yeah.
The combination of trigrams and a hexagram gives insight into the potential for change.
Okay.
And how to navigate it wisely.
Now, you mentioned the Ching originated in Bronze Age China.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Do we actually know who wrote it?
There's a traditional story.
A traditional story.
But modern scholars point to a more complex evolution.
So evolving over centuries, maybe?
Yeah.
Rather than all at once?
So we got the historical legend.
Right.
And then the more nuanced view. What does the legend say? The legend says that this mythical ruler, Fu Xi, designed those 8 trigrams we talked about way back, like 3000 BC. Much later, King Wen, the founder of the Z dynasty, he added judgments.
Okay.
Think of them as like overall interpretations to each hexagram.
Okay.
And finally, his son, the Duke of Zhou, he added even more detailed interpretations for each individual line.
Oh, wow.
Within a hexagram.
So it's been passed down, reinterpreted through generation,
Right.
adding layers of meaning over time.
Layers.
That makes me think about how many people probably view the YiJing as like a way to tell the future.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let me consult the ancient Chinese book and it'll tell me what my destiny holds.
You're hitting on a common misconception.
Okay.
While the YiJing has been used for divination,
Yeah.
it's not just about fortune telling. It goes much deeper than predicting specific events.
Okay.
It's more about understanding patterns
Right.
and cycles of change
Yeah.
and how to make wise choices that align with the flow of the universe.
So it's less about what's going to happen to me and more about how can I navigate the changes that are inevitably coming my way.
Precisely. It encourages introspection
Uh-huh.
and a deeper understanding of how our own actions and choices shape our experiences.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What are some of the key concepts or philosophies that are embedded within the YiJing? What makes it more than just a divination tool?
One core concept is the 4 cardinal virtues:
Okay.
Yuan, Heng, Li, and Zen.
Yuan, Heng Li, and Zen.
Think of these virtues as fundamental principles, woven into the very fabric of reality and not just like guidelines for good behavior.
Right. Break those virtues down for me. What do they mean? How do they apply?
Let's start with Yuan. Embodies fundamentality, the primal origin of things.
Okay.
It's like the seed from which everything sprouts.
Yeah.
Then there's Heng, signifying success, prevalence, and growth.
Okay.
It's that flourishing plant emerging from the seed.
Okay.
Next is Li, representing advantage and suitability. Think of it like the fruit the plant bears. And finally, there's Zen, representing determination, perseverance, the enduring strength that allows the cycle to continue.
Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here.
Mhm.
It's almost like a journey. Starting with a primal source, achieving success, bearing fruit,
Hmm.
and then persevering to start the cycle anew.
Yeah.
But how does this relate to someone's actual life? Like, their decision-making process, for example.
Think about a recent challenge you faced.
Okay.
How might Yuan, that sense of primal origin, have influenced your initial approach? Was there a moment where Hing, that principle of growth, guided your actions?
Okay.
Did you find yourself needing Zen, that perseverance, to see things through?
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's not just abstract philosophy. It's a framework for understanding how we navigate challenges.
Exactly. And the YiJing uses these virtues to guide us toward balance and harmony
Okay.
within ourselves and the world around us. It's about understanding the deeper principles behind our actions, not just achieving success for its own sake.
Okay. This is all super fascinating. But can we get even more specific? Can we, delve into an example of how these concepts play out in an actual hexagram?
Absolutely. A great starting point is hexagram 1, the creative.
Okay, the creative. What does this hexagram actually look like? Paint a picture for us.
Picture this. 6 solid lines,
Okay.
stacked one on top of the other.
Okay.
It's a powerful image
Right.
representing pure dynamic yang energy.
Oh.
That burst of creative potential just waiting to be unleashed.
Okay. I like the sound of that. So what's the overall message of the creative?
The judgment associated with it is outstanding success. The determination is favorable.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty positive start. But I have a feeling it can't be that simple, right? There's got to be more to it.
You're right. There's always more nuance. Remember those individual line interpretations we talked about?
Yeah.
They provide more specific guidance based on which lines within the hexagram are changing.
Okay.
For instance, the first line of the creative reads, submerged dragon, do not act.
A submerged dragon. Okay, that sounds way more mysterious. What's that all about?
It's a cautionary note. Within the overall message of success, it signifies a time for potential to build beneath the surface.
Okay.
Just like a dragon hidden in the depths, it's not yet the time for outward action.
So even though, the creative sounds super positive, it's also saying, hold your horses, not so fast.
Yes.
That's a good reminder for all of us who, tend to jump into things head first. I know I'm guilty of that.
We all are from time to time. But that's why the YiJing is so valuable. It provides guidance for all sorts of situations, reminding us that even when things seem promising,
Yeah.
sometimes restraint and careful observation are key.
I'm also curious about the imagery used to describe this hexagram. Is there, a specific image that captures its essence?
There is. Think of the ceaseless movement of heaven, always in motion, always evolving. This image emphasizes the importance of constant self-improvement, reminding us that personal growth is an ongoing process, just like the ever-changing nature of the universe.
It's interesting how the YiJing uses natural metaphors to convey these philosophical ideas. It makes me think about the challenges of translating ancient Chinese texts like this.
Oh, yeah.
Capturing all those layers of meaning must be a real head-scratcher.
You're spot on. Chinese characters are incredibly dense,
Okay.
often holding multiple meanings depending on context. Translating them into other languages accurately
Right.
without losing those subtle nuances
Yeah.
is a huge task.
Give me a specific example. What kind of, translation pitfalls could someone encounter with the YiJing?
Take the character Hui, for instance.
Okay.
It's often translated as repentance,
Okay.
but originally it meant something closer to problems or obstacles. So when you encounter Hui in the YiJing, it's not necessarily about feeling remorseful. It's more about recognizing a situation that presents challenges.
So a straightforward translation could miss the mark, even mislead someone trying to understand the text.
Exactly. Understanding the cultural context and the evolution of language is key to unlocking the YiJing's true significance. There's so much to unpack beneath the surface.
Any other examples of tricky translations that come to mind?
Absolutely. Remember that word heng,
Yep.
which we discussed in relation to the 4 cardinal virtues. While it's commonly translated as success,
Right.
it also carries connotations of sacrifice and offering.
Interesting. So it's not just about individual achievement. There's like a bigger picture involved.
Right. True success, according to the YiJing, isn't just about personal gain. It's about recognizing our place in the grand scheme of things and acting in a way that benefits the whole.
Okay, so it's not a selfish kind of success, but a success that acknowledges our interconnectedness and the contributions we make to something larger than ourselves.
That's a great way to put it. It's about aligning our actions with a higher purpose, recognizing that true fulfillment often involves selfless actions.
So as I'm wrapping my head around all this, there's a part of me that's thinking, this is great stuff, but how do I actually apply this wisdom in my own life?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's exactly why understanding the concept of the Junzi is so important.
Ah, yes, the Junzi. That term pops up a lot in Chinese philosophy.
Yeah.
Remind us what it represents.
The Junzi, often translated as the noble or the superior man, is an ideal. Think of a person who embodies virtue, wisdom, and a commitment to ethical action. In the context of the YiJing, the Junzi is a role model for how to live out the book's principles.
So the YiJing isn't just theoretical.
Right.
It's offering a path for practical living. It's about embodying these principles, not just pondering them abstractly.
You got it. And, the image section of Hexagram 1 actually provides a great example of this. It states, heaven action is strong and dynamic. Thus, the noble never ceases to strengthen himself.
Okay, I like where this is going. Break that down for us. What's that telling us about the Junzi?
It highlights the importance of continuous self-cultivation. Just as heaven is constantly in motion, always evolving, the Junzi strives for ongoing growth and improvement. Complacency has no place on the path of the noble.
Wow. I'm getting a strong no pain, no gain vibe here.
In a way, yes. It's a reminder that the journey of self-development is never truly finished. There's always more to learn, more to refine, more to strive for.
This reminds me of something we touched on earlier. The idea that the word for success, heng, also implies sacrifice.
Yeah.
How does that connect to the Junzi ideal?
It's a beautiful connection. It suggests that the kind of success a Junzi embodies isn't just about personal gain. It's about contributing to something larger than oneself, even if it requires personal sacrifice.
So it's not just about climbing the ladder of success. It's about recognizing that true fulfillment comes from contributing to the well-being of others and the world around us.
Precisely. The Junzi understands that aligning their actions with a higher purpose, even if it demands sacrifice, leads to a life of meaning and virtue, not just a life of material wealth or achievement.
I'm getting so much out of this.
Yeah.
It really challenges our typical understanding of success and encourages us to think about how our actions ripple outward, impacting the world around us.
That ripple effect is a key concept in the YiJing. It emphasizes that we're all part of this interconnected web. Our actions have consequences, and understanding those consequences is key to making wise choices.
It's like that saying, what goes around comes around, but on a cosmic scale.
Exactly. The YiJing emphasizes this interconnectedness, suggesting that our choices influence not only our own lives, but also the lives of others.
It's a powerful reminder to act with intention and awareness. But this brings up the whole divination aspect again. If the YiJing emphasizes our ability to make choices, how does that fit with using it for divination?
Remember, the YiJing isn't about getting a concrete prediction about the future.
Right.
It's more about understanding the potential outcomes of a given situation based on the forces at play.
So it's not, this will happen to you, but more like, given these circumstances and the choices you make, these are some potential paths and their likely outcomes.
You nailed it. It's about using the wisdom of the YiJing to make informed decisions, not to passively accept some preordained fate.
Like the YiJing provides a map of the terrain.
Yeah.
But we still have the freedom to choose our own path and navigate the challenges.
I love that. But thinking about those challenges, we talked earlier about that character Hui, often translated as repentance, but actually meaning more like problems or obstacles.
Right.
How does that shift our understanding of the YiJing's message? It's a crucial shift. It suggests that facing challenges is inherent to life. And it's not necessarily about dwelling on past mistakes or feeling remorseful. It reframes how we perceive those inevitable bumps in the road.
So instead of beating ourselves up over those Hui moments, we can view them as opportunities for growth and learning.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing the challenges, understanding the lessons they offer, and adapting our course accordingly. It's about being flexible and resilient in the face of adversity.
It's a much more empowering perspective, isn't it? Instead of being consumed by regret or fear of failure, we can use challenges as stepping stones on our path of self-development.
And remember the Junzi.
Yeah.
They embrace challenges as opportunities to cultivate wisdom and resilience. They understand that growth comes from navigating those difficult situations.
This is incredibly insightful. We've covered so much ground.
A lot.
And I feel like we're just beginning to scratch the surface of the YiJing.
It's a truly profound system of thought.
Yeah.
And there's always more to explore.
You know, as we've been unpacking the YiJing, what strikes me is how it encourages us to view challenges as opportunities for growth. It's a real shift in perspective.
Absolutely. The YiJing reminds us that change is the only constant in life. It's through embracing those changes rather than resisting them that we can truly thrive.
Yeah, it's almost like we need to learn to surf those waves of change instead of trying to control them.
I love that. It perfectly captures the spirit of the YiJing, finding that balance and harmony within life's ever-changing currents.
And speaking of balance, the YiJing is fundamentally based on the concept of yin and yang, right?
Exactly.
Those opposing but interconnected forces.
Yin and yang represent that essential duality that underlies everything in existence. Light and darkness, masculine and feminine, action and receptivity.
Boy.
They're all expressions of this dynamic interplay between yin and yang.
So how does this concept of yin and yang actually play out within the YiJing itself?
Well, the YiJing suggests that understanding this dance between yin and yang is essential for navigating life's twists and turns.
Okay.
It's about recognizing those moments when assertiveness is needed, and those moments when yielding is the wiser path. It's about knowing when to push forward and when to step back.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like finding that sweet spot between action and inaction, assertiveness and receptivity can be quite a challenge.
It certainly can be, but that's where the YiJing provides guidance. Remember those trigrams we discussed? One of those trigrams, made up entirely of broken lines, represents pure yin energy. And that trigram forms the basis of hexagram 2, the receptive.
Oh, interesting. So the receptive is like the opposite of the creative, which we talked about earlier.
You could say that. If the creative embodies dynamic yang energy, the receptive represents pure yin receptivity, nourishment, yielding. It's like the fertile earth to the creative heaven, providing a space for potential to take root and grow.
I like that. So what's the overall message of the receptive? Is it all about passivity and going with the flow?
It's not about passivity. It's about understanding when receptivity is the most effective approach.
Okay.
The judgment for the receptive states, if the noble takes the lead, he goes astray. But if he follows, he finds a master.
Okay, that's quite a different message from the outstanding success we saw in the creative. It sounds almost counterintuitive.
It is, but it highlights the importance of reading the situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes the wisest path is to listen, observe, and allow events to unfold naturally, rather than forcing our will upon them.
So it's not about being weak or passive, but about aligning our approach with the energy of the situation, choosing the right tool for the job, so to speak.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that ebb and flow between yin and yang, and adapting our actions accordingly.
You know, all of this really highlights how the YiJing encourages us to approach life with a mindset of constant learning and adaptation. It's not about having all the answers, but about being open to new perspectives and adjusting our course as we go.
That's a key takeaway.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the journey, not just striving for some fixed destination. It's about cultivating flexibility, resilience, and a thirst for knowledge.
Yeah. It's almost like the YiJing is saying, the true destination is the journey itself. And the wisdom we gather along the way is the greatest reward.
Beautifully put. I think that's a perfect way to sum up the essence of the YiJing. It invites us to embark on a lifelong journey of self-discovery, understanding, and growth. It's a treasure trove of timeless wisdom, offering guidance and inspiration for anyone seeking to navigate life's complexities with greater awareness and purpose.
So as you encounter different situations in your own life, take a moment to consider what kind of energy you're dealing with. Creative, receptive, or a blend of both? And how might your actions align with those ancient principles of balance and harmony that the YiJing reveals? And hey, who knows, maybe you'll even be inspired to explore the YiJing yourself and see what insights emerge.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.